in COL Premium, we like to think that we want to give every type of investor the treatment that he deserves. So you've heard it from our fundamental expert, from our technical expert, and now I'd like to introduce to you our next speaker. He's going to talk about a very unique and, shall I say, smart way of investing. He's been a banking industry veteran with 30 years of experience in managing the largest funds in the country. He is also the resident funds expert of COL Financial, and we are very fortunate to have him this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Marvin V. Fausto.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, hello. Yeah. Good morning. Premium. I like the sound of that. COL Premium. We're now in Shangri-La. Congratulations. Anyway, it's very interesting what April Tan presented and Juanis. I think they're both in unison. They're both saying that there's going to be some kind of a correction over the short term. Maybe so, diba? More or less, kind of a correction in the stock market. But both of them are saying we have a good long-term prospect. Long-term, it's going to be okay. Let me just ask for a survey, quick survey. How many of you are bullish? Can you please raise your right hand? How many of you are bullish over the long term? Over the long term. Medyo madami. How many of you are bearish? Bearish meaning not so good. How many are bearish? How many of you do not know? Oh, meron din. Okay. We really live in exciting times. The market is up 8,000. Interest rates are low, 3.4%. I guess the question in our mind is really, what are we going to do next? What lies ahead in this kind of uncharted territory? And just to share with you kind of my experience in managing funds over the past 30 years. Investing is difficult. It's difficult investing in the stock market, but it can be simple. It can be simple. In fact, you can have a smarter way of doing it. And when I was working on the presentation, kind of played around with the word smart. A smarter way. So let's go through the principles of smart investing. First, letter S, stay invested. I guess the long term is looking good. Even if there's some short-term correction, our suggestion, the first smart way of doing it is to stay invested. And just to give you a bigger picture of things, a much bigger picture of things. Because, investing in the stock market is really for long term. That's for sure. And long term, that is where you get the benefits of long term and maximizing your growth. And long term is 10 years. Let's say 10 years. And look at it over the past 10 years. And just look at the bigger picture. Our economy in 2005 was worth 5.7 trillion pesos. The summation of goods and services, nominally, our GDP is 5.7 trillion pesos. And all the other indicators you showed there, in 2005, OFW witnessed 10 billion, BPO 2.9 billion, foreign direct investments 1.7, infra spending of the government only 56 billion, and tourist arrival only 2.7. Fast forward to 2015, the economy doubled, 13.3 trillion pesos. And that is when our economy was doing an average about 5.3% GDP growth rate. It doubled. And the other figures you say there, it's really very amazing. OFW is 25 billion. BPO revenue is 21 billion. Foreign direct investments, almost 6 billion. Infra spending, 436 billion. And tourist arrival is 5.4. Now, let's look at the next 10 years. If we are just going to assume that things are going to happen the same way, meaning we are growing the same way for the past 10 years, assuming lang, conservative, our GDP can double again to 26 trillion pesos. Diba? Except for OFW. Kasi I think when we're more prosperous, I guess some of our countrymen will go home. And OFW's remittances might not reach 50. But all the rest, BPO, foreign direct investments, infra spending, tourist arrival. 10 million tourist arrival. It is not hard to think that these figures can happen. I mean, Singapore has 15 million visitors today. Thailand has 25 million visitors. Tayo, 5.7, 5.4. It's not hard to believe that we can reach 10 million visitors in 10 years. Diba? Now, look at the stock market. We were only 2,096 in 2005. 10 years later, 6,952. That was at the time when the economy doubled. But the stock market, what? More than tripled. But because the companies in the market were the drivers of the economy. The companies that benefit from this growth, much more, they increased much more. SM had doubled their number of malls. Jollibee only had 500 stores. Now it's 3,000 stores. And you know, a lot of things can happen, but if I'm just going to assume a very conservative growth rate for the next 10 years, you can think of a crazy number. But if we're just going to grow the next 10 years, 18,000 on the index may not be as crazy. Why? For the past 10 years, we were growing only 12.7% compounded annual growth rate on the stock market. And that was when the economy doubled. But if I'm going to assume only a 10% compounded annual growth rate for the next 10 years, that's 18,000. If we're going to grow by 12.7% exactly the same way, it's even going to be a much bigger number, 23,000 on the index. So we're 8,000 now, diba? There might be a correction of 7,400. We might get worried, bababa na yung market, ganyan. But if you look at the bigger picture of things, do you really need to worry about it? 18,000 is such a big number, but you know, it's very simple. It's just, if you look at the math, that's just a 10% annual compounded growth rate. And if you look at the stock market, it even grows much faster in an economy that is, as April said, is going to be in the demographic sweet spot, when majority of you will be working, earning, spending. This economic growth is going to be much more than 5.3% we experienced for the past 10 years. We're already doing 7% just last quarter. Which brings me to the second point of smart investing. Because the prices have elevated, risks have increased, the stock market is not going to go a straight line. It's going to be volatile along the way, di ba? That's how the market works. It goes up and down. But is the best performing so far. So how do you manage that volatility? How do you manage the risk? Bring it to the second point of my discussion. You manage the risk by allocating, by diversifying your portfolio. Diversify your portfolio. Because it's very hard to choose a stock now, right? Baka mahal na eh. Medyo mataas na. But you still have to be invested. And you have cash, I understand. I think the range of cash level of COL premium clients is about 15 to 20%. So, what are you going to do with that cash? And if you don't do anything about it, the next time you attend this premium conference again, you will have a bigger problem. Because you will generate more cash from now until the next time, and you will have the same cash, much more than what you already have now. And you're going to look at 18,000 for the next 10 years. What are you going to do? I suggest you manage your portfolio, diversify it with bonds, stocks, and mutual funds. Mutual funds can give you this exposure with diversified portfolio. And what's nice about this is all of these are all available in COL. You can do it online, anytime, anywhere. In fact, last year, for some of you who know, we launched this COL Fund Source, the service for you to be able to access mutual funds in a kind of a supermarket. We call it the first fund supermarket in the country, and up to now, it's still the only fund supermarket in the country where you can buy any mutual fund that you like. We partnered with the top fund managers, the top 6, that represents about 98% of the mutual fund managers in the country, and you can buy any of their funds anytime you like. You don't have to go to their offices anymore. You don't have to talk to an agent. You will not be charged an agent fee. There's no front-end fee when you buy at COL because you will do it yourself. Do it yourself. Why will you pay for an agent? Diba? And you can access any of these funds. And it's going to be in your portfolio. You will see your portfolio in a very organized manner in just one account. And you can look at it, your asset allocation, etc. And you can manage it online. Which actually brings me to the third point of smart investing, which is letter A, asset allocation. So when you diversify your portfolio, make an asset allocation strategy for your investments. In the fund management industry, we do this very regularly. Asset allocation is the determinant of your returns. It's much more efficient to manage your assets rather than to pick the specific security. And in asset allocation, I borrowed, my wife is a writer, is a best-selling author, and she has a blog, she has a website called fqmount.com. And last week she wrote about asset allocation, and I borrowed some of her pictures here. The greatest investor of all time in the world, Warren Buffett, said that, my wife said, inheritance will be invested as follows: 90% low-cost index funds, which is equity index funds, and 10% government bonds. Because he believes in the market, he believes in the stock market, he thinks that that's going to where the returns will come from. 90% equity index funds. The mentor of Warren Buffett, Benjamin Graham, said 50% stocks, 50% fixed income. Ideal asset allocation. He's the author of The Intelligent Investor, the Bible of fundamental analysis. And the third guy, John Bogle, father of index funds. He's the founder of Vanguard, the largest mutual fund in the world, low-cost index funds. He said, you're aged in bonds, the rest in low-cost index funds. If you're, let's say, 40 years old, 40% of your portfolio should be in bonds, bond funds, and 60% in equity funds. So that's what the 3 experts are saying. What are we saying? Kami naman. What do I think? If you're like 35 years and below, simplify it. You have more years to come, more years to work. I said you're an aspiring, I call it aspiring wealth builder. 80% equities, equity funds, equity index funds, and 20% bonds. Because you will be generating more income in the future. You'll be still working, earning. And then you will add to the cash that you already have. And the cash, you will continue to invest 80-20%. Now, if you are the wealth builders, I consider 36 years old to 65. I hope all of you will be working until 65. And then a 50-50% asset allocation would be ideal. These are your wealth builders. Now, if you are 66 years old and above, I consider you the wealth managers. You manage your wealth now for your traveling, for your vacation, for your children and grandchildren. You manage your estate. They're a wealth manager now. Hopefully, by that time you reach 60, all of you are all wealth managers. Just follow April and Juanes. But all of these are just lecture, no? But we all are emotional beings. We're all human beings, and sometimes you don't follow this. When the market is going down, we get scared. We don't follow our asset allocation strategy. And I suggest the best way to approach this emotional being of ourselves is to the number 4 of my talk. Number 4 is actually to regularly invest. Regularly invest on a monthly basis, no matter where the market is. Because you don't know when it's going to correct. One says it's going to correct a bit, maybe sideways. Just regularly invest. And just continue working with what you're doing, with your businesses. Let the market work on its own. Regularly invest is basically, we have that in COL, the Easy Investment Program. You can even computerize it and make it automatic. We have that in the website. It's automated with a fixed amount. You can put an amount in a regular interval over a long period of time. Your cash now of 15-20%, divide it over 6 months and let the computer do it. Buy an index fund and regularly invest over the next 6 months. Because you're going to continue working anyway. You will continue to earn cash, and that will continue to be used as an investment for the future. So what you have now, just deploy it for the next 6 months. Who knows where the market's going to go over the short term. So regularly invest through the Easy Investment Program. And if some of you haven't seen it in the site, it's under the trade button where you have an EIP scheduler. Yeah, it's there. And they have videos to show you how to do it. In mutual funds, there is an icon that says mutual fund and schedule EIP. You can also do that. So both in equities and mutual funds, you can let the computer do it for you without having to be emotional about it. And now, so we talked about the smart way. To my last principle, letter T, you have to review your targets. So after investing, asset allocation, regular investing, review your targets. Meaning, look at your asset allocation and rebalance it whenever it's necessary. For example, your allocation is 50-50. Or if you're not at 50-50, go to 50-50%. And then review it. On your review day, you see the market is up, you're more in equities pala, 60%, 40% in bonds. Maybe you want to rebalance your portfolio back to your ideal asset allocation. An asset allocation that you are comfortable with, that you can afford to take risk on. And do it in a day like your anniversary. Last week, my wife and I, we had a wedding anniversary. And 27 years. Oh, thank you. I'm very lucky to have married a wonderful wife. She's here. Thank you for supporting. And she's Ilocana, so she's very good with money. And in our anniversary, we usually go to a place where we haven't been before. And because of the traffic, we just check in a hotel. And what we do is we watch videos of our marriage. We like getting married because we got married 4 times. The original, 10 years, 20 years, 25 years. And we watch a lot of videos. Anyway, we had a quiet dinner, and then in the dinner time, we talk about what happened to your life and your relationship, etc. And then one of the topics we talk about is really our asset allocation, our investments. She's Ilocana, we have to talk about these things. And what we realized, we have a lot of cash pala. I mean, we have cash that is not invested. So right there and there, we decided we can go online already and buy a mutual fund for that cash. And then it's going to be automatically invested. And I suggest for all of you who have a spouse, talk to your spouse on your anniversary, talk about your asset allocation in a romantic dinner. It can be romantic. And then talk about what your plans are, like what you want to do for the rest of your life, and what allocation will fit that kind of a strategy, diba? I mean, they say that more than 50% of our problems in a marriage is about money. So talk about it. It's much easier that way. And we talked about our family. We raised our children to be investors. And she designed how to raise them. So design not just your investment, but your life, your family, in a way that it's according to your values and your dreams. The asset allocation should fit in that kind of the living. So, smart investing. I talked about the word smart, and it's basically, to summarize it, S is to stay invested, because the long term is going to be good. And the stock market gives you the best return by far. Don't worry about the short-term gyration. Next, because of the risk involved in stock market, manage it. Don't get away from risk, because you don't put your money in a risky investment, you just put it in a bank. It's definitely going to lose money, because it's going to lose versus your inflation, right? Put your money in the bank, less than 1%, it's not going to earn you anything. You're going to work for the rest of your life. So manage that risk. Do diversification of your portfolio, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. And then do an asset allocation. What specific assets that you want to manage? And then regularly invest. Do it automatically better. The EIP program, Easy Investment Program. And then the last, review your targets on your anniversary, on your birthday. Don't do it in January. January they don't follow that usually. So that's what we suggest. And I guess that's a smart way of attacking this uncharted territory. And I think you will be rewarded over the long term. Ladies and gentlemen, you are part of the, should I say, fortunate minority. You invest in the stock market. You participate in the growth of this economy. And you benefit from it. And what's good about it is that you are improving your wealth. And they say that when you achieve true wealth, if you are able to afford to help others without worrying about yourself. But true wealth is achieved if you can give it. And they say truly rich, you can be truly rich if you can give it away. I'm not just talking about giving money away. Giving time, your effort, your energy, your experience, your expertise, your knowledge about investing in the stock market, about investing in general. Because investing it's not just for the rich. Investing is not just for the experience. You can tell your family, your friends, your colleagues, your co-workers who can benefit from this long-term maximized participation in the economy. Investing is not just for you. Investing is really for everyone. And because, achieving, being rich, truly rich, is, I guess, when you share your knowledge, and through investing, you will be able to do that. Because I believe investing is really for everyone, because you and I will agree that everyone deserves a richer life. Thank you very much.